All right, so channel 1 is recording, and then, yeah, just push that button. Channel 2 is recording.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, I guess
is your coffee? Or
oh, that's yours there.
okay, nice. I guess let's see. Let's have you just say like, I don't know who you are, where we are.
So I'm going to be talking
You can talk to me.
to you,
Yeah.
and we're not talking to the.
No, yeah. No, you can just hi. No, you can just talk to me.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm David Lukas, and we're in North Central Washington, Methow Valley, and I'm a freelance naturalist based here, freelance naturalist and writer based in North Central Washington, and this is where I work. Right here, we're in my office. With my book collection, I've been collecting my whole life. These are all natural history books and dictionaries, and I use them to do all my research for all the writing and filmmaking I make. So.
Did you like? Did you think you were going to become a writer, or like, how did writing like come into what you
Yeah,
do?
no, I did not think I was going to be a writer. So I have been a hardcore naturalist my whole life. Matter of fact, when I was 5 years old, I started memorizing pictures and field guides. And that has been my whole life. It's just studying natural history books, studying field guides. When I could read, I memorized the text, and I've just been doing that for my entire life. And so I was like, I am going to be, well, first I wanted to be a professor of zoology and do the academic thing. And then I realized that I didn't like the academic world. I wanted to be out in nature and doing my own thing. So I dropped out of college and just started studying natural history on my own in whatever way I wanted to. Just like go out, be outside, look, observe, come up with questions, take notes, research things with books and now the internet, and put together stories that you can share with people. And during the course of that time, I spent a year in Borneo, still thinking I wanted to be a biologist, professional biologist, and working with scientists in the field. And what I realized is that they had incredible stories that needed to be told, but they were terrible communicators. So I realized that there was a role to translate for the public the stories that I understood and knew from my own training, to translate for people. So I decided I wanted to be a writer instead, and switched out of being kind of on the academic science track into just being kind of a free-form writer, creator, telling stories, storyteller.
Yeah. So that realization that the way the communication was happening was like a
Yeah.
big shift.
Yeah. Because I never really saw myself in that role, being a communicator. I mean, ultimately, I'm really shy and awkward in front of people. But when I can step into the storytelling naturalist role, then I just embody that. And then once I realized that people really care about that and they really connect with that, and you're making a difference in people's lives. Once I realized that power to change people's lives and help them see the natural world in new ways, I realized that was really important. And that was, I completely made the switch for that reason.
Okay.
You know,
From the academic to the
from the academic, and yeah, it was just really so exciting to realize that you could connect with people and have community and networks and share and learn together and find joy and wonder together. That realization was incredible.
yeah.
And so I've just poured my heart and soul into finding these stories and sharing them with people in as many ways as I could.
And so you ended up in Yosemite. Were you from California? No, you were
No,
from
I'm from
where are you
Oregon.
from?
Yeah, yeah. No, I ended up in California. Did not expect it. My family's been in Oregon for 8 generations. So I thought I would
Eight
always,
generations?
yeah, I thought I'd
Oh
always
wow.
be in Oregon forever. That was my, my blood.
You guys are like the pioneers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from the very
No
beginning.
way.
Um, and but I ended up in California because when I decided to be a writer, I was studying the work of Gary Snyder, the poet Gary Snyder, and so I went to live and work with Gary in the Sierra Nevada. And so I was there for 10 years, at least 10 years, in working with Gary in the community there. And that was an incredibly transformative experience. And I just fell in love with the Sierra Nevada and being in California. So I was there for a long time. And that
Yeah.
included later, I was in the Bay Area for 4 years, leading workshops and classes in the Bay Area. And then I was in the Yosemite area for 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a substantial amount of
Yeah,
time.
so it was a substantial amount of time in California.
So like with along the timeline, I don't know this about you. I guess
Hmm.
exactly. I know you've been there, and I feel like maybe I had heard that you had told me once that you had gone to work with this writer. Like when did you were you reading Gary Snyder
Snyder, yeah.
Snyder material, and you're like, I
Yeah.
gotta get in touch with this guy, or how did that come about?
It came about because so what I did, I'll tell you the longer story.
Okay, tell me the longer
Yeah,
story. Yeah.
it's so cool because so I dropped out of college after a year and a half, and then I just started hitchhiking around, working on field research projects. I worked on field research projects in 8 different states, Western
Okay,
states,
Western
over
states.
time. Just short-term field research projects, helping different researchers study birds, study plants, whatever they were studying. And during the course of that, I heard about a professor at Harvard that was studying orangutans in Borneo, and I was like, I want to go to Borneo.
Yeah.
So I hitchhiked to Boston, walked in his office, and said, I want to be on your team. Take me to Borneo with you.
No
And
way.
he did. So I went to Borneo for a year, actually 13 months. And when I went to Borneo, I took one book with me for 13 months at an extremely remote site. There was just 4 of us working there, very remote, very lonely, isolated. And I took one book of Gary Snyder's poetry with me. And I didn't like his poetry at all, but I knew I was supposed to. So kind of as a test or kind of as punishment, I only took that one book for an entire year and just read it over and over and over again until I got what he was doing. And then coincidentally, it wasn't my intention, but coincidentally, during the course of the year, I decided to become a writer. And so
Okay.
because I was reading his work and getting what he was doing in his writing, that's how I picked. I want to live and work with Gary Snyder.
Okay.
And so I just basically showed up on his doorstep and stayed for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like I feel like before the widespread emails, social media, internet, like you could just show up at someone's place and be like, it was there was something more casual about the world. It feels like
Yeah,
people are
and
too busy now. Or,
that
I
was
don't know.
that was very lucky. I kind of came in at the right moment to fit into the community and be part of a larger project that they were just starting to. They were starting a watershed institute, and I was there for like not the first exact meeting, but the second meeting, the first formal meeting of the Watershed Institute. And I just happened to show up at that moment, and they were like, "Oh, cool! You know biology. We could really use some biology insights, and yeah, please stay. And here's some projects for you. Here's a place you can live. We'll give you some work to do to help support yourself."
Yeah.
And so it was just that really fortunate moment.
Yeah.
And part of that fortunate moment was being able to live and work with Gary, and that really was the formative first step in becoming a writer. Not because he didn't teach me how to be a writer, but to be next to a really great thinker, really great writer, and to spend a lot of quality time with him and just see what it meant to be a writer
Yeah. Yeah.
and find my own path to being a writer.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. That's a cool part of I feel like your journey that I haven't, known as much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're very lucky to have that experience. And what I just did is I just started. I wanted to be a writer. Had great aspirations, and I wouldn't say they quite.
we have
realized.
to, right? We
Yeah,
have to.
exactly. I like all these fantasies. I was going to be a famous writer, but I found my own niche. And what I did is I just started writing for free, really, at first. Like lots. I wrote little pieces for newsletters for the local newspaper, just little free little snippets, and then it kind of just builds into maybe I get $25 for a piece, and then maybe $100 for a piece, and I ended up writing like 300 articles.
Wow.
For
Yeah.
magazines and newspapers, and I still do that sometimes. But my life has changed since then. So so basically, my goal is to be outside every day studying the natural world. How do you pay for that? How do you survive doing that? I can't just go out and hike every day and get paid. Money just doesn't show up. So I have to find ways to. And so I've had to try to beg articles, and I've worked on books and, teach classes, lead walks, whatever I can do to pay for my passion, which is being outside every day, studying, learning, and finding stories to share with people. And so writing has been one part of that.
Do you feel like when you've done guiding stuff, walks and stuff, does that count as outside, or is that like, since you're doing?
Yeah,
It's a little different, right?
It's a little different because you're on stage kind of, and your time is constrained. You can't just stop and like I'll be like mid stride and I'll see something or something's going to happen. I'll just stop mid stride and stand for an hour and just start listening and absorbing.
Right.
And you can't do that with a group, and you can't just sit and like lay down and stare at the sky or dip your hands in the water, stuff like that. It's harder. So it kind of counts.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But what does count is the countless hours of preparation. So for me, I take it really seriously. I mean, I want every single walk to be a life-changing experience, the best day of someone's life. And I have spent like a month preparing for a walk.
Okay.
Going out over and over again, like studying, memorizing every step and what can people see and what they're going to experience. So that counts.
Yeah.
And then the walk itself is more for like I can make some money from it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. You've kind of, you did that before in Yosemite, right? The walk, like walking, guiding.
I've been doing that my whole life.
Doing that
Yosemite
your whole life
was
too?
just one part
Just one
of that,
step along the way.
So
okay. Did you do them in Portland too?
Is what?
Did you do them in the Portland area?
So we moved to Portland after Yosemite, and we were there 6 years, and I couldn't find a single gig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was terrible. I ended up leading Portland history tours in downtown, I think the Chinatown, Skid Row area.
Yeah.
Like kind of like these urban legend Portland history tours were kind of quirky and kind of fun, but it was like really low pay. I don't know, $25 for 2 hours or something crazy like that. Once or twice a month. That's all I could find in Portland. But no, I've led thousands of hikes, tours. I've led 3-week-long tours to Central America multiple times, several years in a row.
Oh, that's cool.
I've led tours for National Audubon, Nature Conservancy.
When you do like the longer tours in Central America, like is that people that are wanting to just go and learn about like the birds and
they're just general
the natural stuff.
Yeah, general naturalists, nature enthusiasts. Cool.
Where in Central America? I don't know if I knew about that part.
Yeah. No, for a couple of years I was leading tours in Costa Rica.
Cool.
And then we would also have, and then Belize. We did Belize just as much as Costa Rica. And then we would add on a leg to Tikal and Guatemala.
Cool.
So do some Guatemala too. And
nice.
That was really cool.
Do you like going down there? I mean, do you feel like that's
I would love to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so funny is that my experience there doing those tours is like, you show up at the airport, you've got our group would have our own bus, we'd have our own hotels, we had our own planes, we had our own boats, we're just shooting all over the country, seeing every ecosystem, all the great highlights.
Right.
And I've never gone and just like been able to see the place myself and relax.
I see. So you really,
I've always wanted to go back.
You got connected to do this like for a very specific purpose. Then, obviously.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like package tours that I stepped into, and someone else was doing the legwork, organizing them, and I was like a co-leader for them. But yeah, so I've been doing. I mean, I'm not even going to say how many years. Many years. I've been leading tours, classes. I started when I was like 20, 21. I started leading tours.
Yeah. Was this after you got back from Borneo?
No, before
Borneo. Okay, so you already like...
I had some experience at that. Yeah, so I was very fortunate. So I grew up on the Oregon coast in several little tiny fishing villages. My dad was a marine biologist, so I kind of grew up in the laboratories and playing with experiments and cages and all the test animals, stuff like that. Then I moved to Portland for high school. And I stayed for college too. But for high school, I got involved in this place called Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, which just had a fantastic program. They had a research laboratory in the basement at the time, and they had summer field programs. And so I suddenly had a whole cohort of other high school friends, and we had college-age leaders, and we had our own fleet of vans, and we just went everywhere in the state and just explored natural history like crazy.
Yeah.
We would just say, let's go to here for a week. And we would just all pile into the van, and we had college age kids who would drive, and then all of us would goof off, and we did that for years, and that was a really incredible experience.
What do you feel like there was something like I'm just like reflecting on some of these like moments in my life. Like there were certain things that I felt really drawn to even at a really young age.
Yeah.
Were there thing like whether it's animals or insects or like visually something like what were you drawn to some of those things very specifically?
Well, I started out as a complete reptile and amphibian nerd.
Okay.
So that was like, I was so single-mindedly focused on them as a young kid.
Yeah. What about them do you think was like?
I think their portability, the fact that they were these incredible little organisms, but like you could hold them.
Okay.
And you could put them in an aquarium and watch them and study them and feed them and be part of their lives that way.
Yeah.
So
And they kind of just when they're in an aquarium, they just adapt to their little ecosystem, right? Like.
Well, kind of.
Start
You take good
eating.
care of them. Yeah.
Right. Or they die.
So yeah, they die. So
They
that's
die.
like that's one of my great regrets of my life is like how many animals I caught
Yeah.
that I thought I could take care of that I really didn't. I mean, you're just taking them out of their world.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about that. But
Yeah. You were like
that was
you were a
part
kid.
of how I completely absorbed in the natural world, like hands-on, touching, catching, watching, studying, taking notes on, like from very early age.
Yeah.
As soon as I could, I started doing that, and I did that until my mid-teens. And then when I was 15, a freshman in high school, the local Audubon did a birding trip to Arizona, and a couple of my high school friends were going on it also. So I was like, oh, I could be part of this too. So I went to Arizona for 2 weeks, I think, on this birding trip. And I went because that's the best spot for reptiles and amphibians in the nation. It's just an incredible hot spot for reptiles. So I was like, yes, I can go find these incredibly exotic, fascinating snakes and lizards and stuff. And I spent 2 weeks trapped in a van with bird watchers.
Oh, okay.
And God, these people are freaks. They would be driving down the freeway and slide off into the shoulder and throw open the doors and run across the field to chase down a bird, or just absolutely fanatic about seeing every bird. And I was just like, please get me out of this van. But after 2 weeks, I was kind of hooked on the excitement of bird watching. Got a pair of binoculars, got a bird book, started paying attention, and made a transition into birds.
Okay.
And then others, I was traveling and working on these field projects around the States and stuff. And then Borneo also was this, focusing on plants, like what plants are the animals using? And then I was like, okay, so birds need plants, and then plants need insects, and just branched out more and more. I mean, my whole life I've been a general naturalist, but in terms of my passions, it's just been a gradual branching out, especially when I realized that the broader range of stories you have, the more you can connect with people. So
Definitely,
you don't want to just say, oh, look, there's a scrub jay. You want to have a story. It's like that scrub jay is part of a web of life. And the more dots you can connect as you start telling a story, the more fascinating it gets. So that turned me into the bigger storyteller of like, I'm not interested in bird identifications or identifications of species. I'm interested in the webs of life and really surprising connections you can draw. Like just riffing in the moment, like, oh, that connects to this. And, oh, that reminds me of this story about the stock market that did this and it looks like this. And you start webbing just free form because you've been studying and thinking about all these things.
Yeah. I guess I have noticed that your letters always like, they'll have like maybe a singular subject or topic or like headline, but then they'll branch into like how what that means like for the ecology of a place or sometimes even globally. Like sometimes there's things that really are across the world. I mean insects are, but that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So you're mentioning the newsletters I do these weekly newsletters, and really, I mean, every one of them is like a portal into a world of wonder and amazement. And I want people to just fall into a story and it just goes deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Then they realize it's like, this is incredible. Like I just did one on moss. I mean,
yeah.
Who would ever think about moss? But then you open this door and you start falling into this hole that just gets bigger and opens up into a whole nother world you never knew was there.
Yeah.
That's a perfect story. That's a perfect topic.
Yeah. There's a bit of like, I mean, it's reality, but there's like a bit of fantasy in it too.
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely.
The myth of.
Yeah. Like I just did one on catkins, the little flowering structures of willows and cottonwoods and stuff. And I called it catkinology, just a play on the study of catkins, just playing with words, which I love to do too. But it turns out, I mean, I had no idea. It's like you see catkins producing pollen in the spring and you just notice them. They're pretty little pussy willows on willows, stuff like that. But it turns out they're like one of the most important parts of an ecosystem. It's like I had no idea. And for me, it was just a cool topic. And then I started researching it. And a couple days later, I've like pull myself out of this research hole going, wow, what did I just learn? That's an incredible story.
Yeah. Do you ever find this stuff in these books now, or is it all online?
It's both.
It's both. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's great information online, but really some of the best information is in all these books.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I do with these books is I've just always given myself permission. Usually I'm living in some remote mountain cabin, some remote mountain town, don't have access to libraries. Yeah. And so from the beginning, I've just given myself permission to buy the best high quality books possible in terms of information and just have it. And I might need it for one fact, or I might buy an incredibly dense book and it sits here for 20 years. And then it turns out that when I'm writing an article, it is the perfect resource. Yeah. The only book in the world that is about that topic. And I've already had it, so that's cool.
Is it cataloged? Do you understand where everything is? Or, I mean, you probably are familiar enough.
I do. I just rearranged. I just got new bookcases and rearranged it. Okay. So I'm still learning the new system.
New order.
But yeah, this is not chaos.
Not entire chaos. So, occasionally chaos. I'm just gonna check real quick and make sure we're still rolling. Nice. We're good there. Do you know if there's a record limit on this? Nope, looks like it's good.
Shouldn't be, or not with what we're gonna do.
Yeah. No, I love the books. We have a couple bookcases, but we have like plants and pictures on them, and so like I don't feel like we have a spot for books. So our bookcase is like stacked in the garage. We have a small bookcase, and it's just overflowing with books like stacked up. Yeah. And actually, like some of our I have a book about trees and one about like mushrooms. Like we brought those ones inside because they're kind of cool. But I'm not a naturalist. So.
Well, yeah, this book collection has been sort of it's kind of my bane of my life in a way. So for instance, first moving this book collection is, so we have 4 sides of books in here around us.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah, it's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides.
Yeah, I don't know what it is right now, but for a long time, then my number was just 36 linear feet of 6-foot bookshelves.
Okay.
I just added a new bookcase, so I don't know what it is now, but then when I walk in here, I do feel overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Like I almost panicked because there's so much to learn, and I want to take in all of this. Yeah. So I get a little panic sometimes, but then otherwise it's just great to like whatever topic I'm working on, go and pull it out. I mean, I have books for natural history of the whole world, and, so I can like, wonder what about lions in Africa? Oh, I got 5 books on that topic, whatever, So and I just feel like people don't honor books anymore that much because we're so sucked in by media.
And sometimes like while the web has lots of information and it's almost too direct, like it gives you just what you want, but then it doesn't. Like with a book, then it's like, oh, I wasn't even looking for that, but now I found this other thing as I continue to read.
Exactly. Yeah, you start flipping through the pages looking for that one fact, and you end up somewhere else that you didn't expect.
I know you've done some writing. I'm not sure of all your books, but do you feel like there's like you're doing all these newsletters? Do you feel like you're building up to wanting to write some sort of book about like the connection of like ecology or something like?
I get that
like
question.
Your life.
Yeah, I get a question of that a lot about like specifically about the newsletters, turning them into a book. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, like if you categorize them in like similar themes, they could become chapters or something.
Yeah, well, each newsletter is such a different
thing
that I don't see the storyline yet. And also, I've worked on 47 books.
Yeah.
And I kind of just I get maybe taking a break from it because I miss creating books. I mean, I didn't write all those books, but I've been involved in a lot of book projects. So just kind of in a way done with that and really enjoying the newsletter and doing a weekly, just kind of like my little little project. I'm in control of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
It just goes out in the world. It touches people's lives, and then we move on to something else the next week.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess, well, let me see, where should I start this? Well, what are you working on then now? What's your new newsletter? What are you studying?
Yeah. Well, I think this week I'm going to work on balsam roots.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Yeah, because outside right now we're absolutely surrounded by an incredible balsam root displays. This is just one of these epic, amazing years for balsam roots, and it would be it feels like a mistake to just not acknowledge that.
Yeah.
So, well, I wasn't planning to do balsam roots this week. I was planning to do a newsletter about dandelion seeds, because there's some really cool physics on dandelion seeds, and so there's a story there that I want to research and tell. But heck, the balsam roots are here. I want to get out in the field and walk around and get some footage and photographs of balsam roots and see if I can tell a story about balsam roots.
Yeah. Would you call it a super bloom?
I would call it
This
a
year?
super bloom.
Yeah. Like the superest you've seen, or?
Oh yeah, by far.
By far?
By
Okay.
far. This is
Okay.
I don't know what's going on this year, but there are so many balsam roots.
Yeah,
And other
yeah.
flowers too, but the balsam roots you can't miss them.
Yeah, so I've been noticing that from our place, I can look across the valley in Wenatchee at it's called the Horse Lake Trailhead, and I've been seeing yellow, but I started seeing this white like shimmer on the hillside, so I went over there, and there's like all these small white flowers. I'll show you some pictures, so you can maybe tell me what they are, and it's crazy because like usually you see a lot of flowers, but I've been noticing it like across the valley, there's a white shimmer over there. Let's go see. And then it's a whole entire like bloom of these white flowers.
nice.
And recently I was just looking up the hill, and there's this like purplish, like almost like a shadow.
Yeah.
And we went up there last night, and it's crazy. This field of lupin, the whole entire hillside is covered in lupin as far as you can see.
Changing color tapestry. I love it.
Yeah. And so our balsam roots are all over basically in Wenatchee. We're like a week or so ahead of you guys, I
Yes,
think.
they're heading out
Maybe
now.
2 weeks even.
Yeah.
And so it was cool coming up the valley because I was like, the balsam roots are back.
Going back into
Yeah.
I love it.
If you're balsam roots and just drive north, I guess a couple hours.
Yeah, and the lupins are coming in at some of the lower elevation sites here. But if you go up higher, it's just solid balsam roots still. But
Yeah.
and those white ones are probably popcorn flower. But
Popcorn. I'll show you some pictures. There was two different kinds.
Okay.
One it was a little shrubby. It was interesting.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't remember even seeing these last
That's so
last
cool.
couple of years. But
That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique.
Yeah.
A unique bloom.
Well, the joy of being a naturalist like that is you're paying attention to the world around you. You're seeing you start noticing questions and you're starting getting search images and then you remember things year after year. And what I love about studying natural history is that you get familiar with these things. You get familiar with balsam root, for instance. You get familiar with whatever the white flower is going to be, and then you look for it next year, and they become like friends. They become like anchors in your life. Anchors in the natural world, but just anchors in your life even too. Like points of familiarity that make you feel at home with where you are. And the more you study things, the more you're kind of at home like that. So, and this is a little bit more esoteric, but for me, one of the joys of studying natural history is that I have turned it into just like, my goal with natural history is to push it as far as possible, to really like just become so deeply immersed in it. And, like I said, I've started studying field guides when I was 5 years old, memorizing pictures. I've been doing that my entire life. And so when I go out now in nature, I'm like, I know every single thing around me. I might not know the name of every single species if you get down and try to identify little tiny flowers or little tiny insects. I don't know every single one to that detail. But the level of familiarity is so deep. Like I am just like walking in a field of knowledge, connected to everything deeply. I mean, there's no words for it. It's like way beyond words. And that's an incredible experience. I mean, it's only come about because I've just spent my entire life, day and night, like until midnight every night, I'm studying field guides.
Yeah.
Every day of my life. Yeah. And then now when I go outside, it's like I'm just walking through a fabric of just familiarity. And that's an incredible experience. It's part of what I want to do is just share what that feels like with people, so that other people can find that in their lives too in some way.
That's kind of that's sort of the newsletter is like you kind of, I mean, that's where you're at right now with how you're sharing it is the newsletter and your photography. How about photography? When did that start? Did you have like a aha moment or did it like
No.
trickle in?
Well, so I was in California for a long time,
Yeah.
and I had a huge following. It's very well known, traveling all over Northern California, giving classes, workshops, leading walks, giving presentations, writing books, writing articles. Just a huge network of connectivity. And then we moved to Portland, and it was just dead end. I had nothing to do for 6 years, so it's like trying to reinvent myself in some way. Tried to find some opportunities to lead walks and give tours. I mean, to make money, not for free.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything. So then I was like, this was the beginning of when people were doing social media and like content creator thing was all taking off. I was like, well, why don't I be a content creator? I can do social media and I'll be so famous, you know? So that's why I started doing the photography. Like, I was starting to aspire to be a content creator and have a social media page with 1 million followers or whatever I thought I was going to do. So I got into the cameras, started trying to make my own little videos and try to figure out how to create content like that. And like most people have probably found, you just don't really hit the jackpot with that. So you can post all the beautiful pictures you want, but it doesn't really go viral and take off. And then when we moved here to North Central Washington, this is really remote place. There's even fewer opportunities, and I had no way to make money, no way to create anything. So then that's where I ended up with the newsletter.
Okay.
It's like I really want to share. I want to reach people. I want to connect with people. How can I do that? And so the newsletter was another version of doing social media, but it was like a writing thing. Go back to the writing thing.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that every newsletter needs photographs. And all of a sudden I had a place to put my photographs. So I had, I don't know what it is, probably 20,000 photographs now, I have no idea, that are just sitting there on my computer and files. It's like, what am I going to do with these? These are great.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. But then to do a newsletter every week, I have a place to put photographs. So there's actually a reason to take photographs and a reason to use photographs that I've accumulated, but also a reason to go out, like go out today, try to take photographs of balsam roots because I know I'm going to write a newsletter this week about balsam roots. So I need to go out and get some photographs.
Yeah.
And so it becomes both a use for the photographs and an inspiration for the photographs. And so the photography has really taken off because now I have something to do with it. If I was just taking photographs and sticking them on my computer, it would be fun, but not that exciting. But to be able to actually tell a story with photographs every week, incredible. So that's really made me take the photography and the videos. I make a lot of videos too. And I want to weave those into the newsletter as well. It's really prompted me to take those things seriously. So this is kind of the ultimate thing coming together, like nature observation, writing about nature, and taking photographs, and having a place to put all of those that people love and love to share. So the newsletter has really been really a great tool.
Really
I love putting them together, and the feedback and the following is just great, and I love that I'm reaching people.
Yeah. I feel like I've gotten to see it grow over the last couple of years. It's been cool. I mean, it seems like you enjoy the photography side of things too. I know you can get really. Yeah. It's just kind of like exploring. When you're looking at something really closely, and now you can do it and kind of save it in a way without having to take clippings home or kill some bugs.
Well, I mean, what makes the photography so inspiring is when people are actually seeing it every week. Yeah. And commenting on it and like, God, this is great. I love these photographs. Whatever. Like that kind of feedback is exciting. Yeah. You're not just sitting on the pictures yourself. You're sharing them and people seeing them. And I'm not trying to, I do print them and sell them, but I'm not trying to make a living. Like I'm not like desperately trying to find a new gallery space and hoping someone buys an expensive print. Yeah. And then feeling discouraged because it sits there and I don't sell them. It's like that. That would be harder. Yeah. But just share them for free with people every week and get feedback is great. So. Do you do most of your writing here? Do you ever do writing like out in the field, like while you're sitting there, bring a laptop? Yeah, that's a great question. That has always been my fantasy. Yeah. That I would like. That would be just because what I've always not liked about the writing life, and it has been a big part of my life. I mean, hundreds of articles, dozens of books. I mean, it's just like I have spent so much time writing. There's been times in my life where I've had 8 articles due in the same month, and multiple times I've written entire books in 2 months, and just incredible deep immersion in writing, and it takes you away from nature. It takes you away from being outside. And so every time I have to write something, I have to come into the office or my writing space, wherever it is at that time of my life, and sit down and write. And it's like, it drives me crazy how many hours I spent inside sitting at my desk and not outside. Like on a beautiful sunny day like it is today, I should be outside, you know. So the fantasy, like, I'll just take a notepad with me and just sit in nature and just soak it up and, find a nice spot to sit and stare out over space and write my manuscript. No. It doesn't work. The closest I've come is I spent 4 years writing a book on language. And so I spent 4 years researching all of the English language and the pieces and processes in English language. And I did all that research and wrote that book outside, sitting on my porch with manual typewriters. And that was awesome. So then I could sit outside, because the problem, otherwise you're like, that's a screen, you need to have a power cord, and you can't see the screen, and it's weird to sit out and squint and try to look at your screen and type. But manual typewriter is great. It's very tactile. I can just sit back and listen and stare and think, and it's not using power. It's not sitting there going black because I haven't turned it on or whatever. It's just always there. And what I did is I would set up a table, and I had 3 typewriters, manual typewriters, each one with a different piece of paper. One was notes, one was outline, I think one was text I was writing. And I could just turn and read my book and take notes and type, whichever. They were like different windows on a computer. And so that's why I have a collection of typewriters, and it's great to just put them out and you should have them be different windows for the same project at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's amazing. Now I'm like, why don't they make some sort of modern typewriter that you could like not have a screen? But I mean, I guess you could just type and not look at the screen and just be like, well, I'll fix it later. You don't necessarily have to see what you're writing, but they've made ebooks and all of these things that are, a slight, like a step away from a laptop, but things that are similar to digital. I wonder,
Well, I do have, there's a product I have, obscure thing that someone made on a Kickstarter program. It's a manual typewriter keys, but you put your iPad in it.
Oh, okay.
And so you have the manual typewriter experience, but you're interfacing with your
screen.
With your screen. Yeah. So that's kind of one permutation on that idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the joys of using a typewriter is making the mistakes. So you're typing and it's like, oh God, you like backspace and cross it out, and then you keep typing. You can't erase. So you have a record of all these false starts, which is really cool when you read it later. Maybe you recover an idea that you didn't know was there, or you see the process so much more. Whereas on a computer, I type forwards and erase backwards so fast, like it's just like at the speed of light. Just do a word, do a couple sentences, nope, don't like it, erase it, back, and just keep going. And there's no record of any of that. You just have one final draft of everything. So,
are you like? Do you use obviously none of this has to be like on the record, but do you use like AI like stuff to be like, well, let's just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, let's just clear this up. Cause you've been writing for long enough. Like I feel like I've been leaning into that lately. Like, I don't quite know how to phrase what I'm saying. So I'm just going to put it out there and it doesn't sound right, but I'm just going to have AI give me a little boost. And then usually I'm like, oh, this sounds better than how I could have written it. So I'll just make some tweaks. And
I've never tested and never played with AI.
Okay.
I have no interest in it, but you're right. It could actually be great for some phrasing. Yeah.
I mean, it's, I feel like it's just going to
dehumanize
us one step at a
exactly.
time.
I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So no, I like the process of writing, and I've been doing it for so long that it comes pretty easily now.
Yeah.
I'm not writing hard things where I get writer's block either. I'm not like writing a novel or something, but it's pretty fluid. And also, one of the things I've done as a writer is I've worked on so many pieces that, and under crushing deadlines, which is the way to do it. You just
Yeah.
work under like, I just pile deadlines on top of each other and I'm like can't even breathe. And there's been times in my life where I started to lose my eyesight because I've had so many deadlines and working 18 hours a day writing to keep up. But you learn how to let go of the perfectionist trend. You just, I mean, really no one's reading these days, like, and evaluating, like, oh, that sentence is wrong. People just skim through stuff anyway and get the ideas and get the gist of what you're saying. So you just write because it's all an ongoing process, and you just get it out there and get feedback from people and write something else again and write something else again and just keep the flow going. Is more important than stopping yourself and like trying to make something perfect that no one really cares about. So
I hear you.
yeah, and once you give yourself that permission, it becomes a lot easier to write.
Because it's like that pressure, it kind of changes. Like it doesn't have to be.
You just go with, it's a flow. You're in the flow of sharing ideas, and without those ideas out there in the world, there's no conversation. So you can't start a conversation until you put something out there. So just get it out there and start the conversation. You can always rewrite it later or fine tune it later, and or write a different version later. But without that, there's no conversation. There's no exchange of ideas. So that's more important than perfection.
Yeah.
So,
because it seems like, I mean, it's all about connecting and starting the conversation.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I want to ask more about, like, I don't know, like, why do you think people need to be led or brought to nature? I feel like maybe some of these questions would be good, like diving into the nature questions could be fun to do, like, out in the field. Because I think it'd be cool to do something like, not, maybe we won't have two cameras, but maybe we'll just do some like shorter interviews, like chat, just some conversation out in the field, like sitting in a bunch of balsam roots, because that's where you and I both really want to be. So I think that could be fun.
Sure.
But
I mean, we could broach it now and
yeah.
later.
Do you? I mean, I would imagine you have some thoughts about that.
Why people need to be led?
Yeah, like why? Yeah, like you want to share nature with people because it fascinates you, but like, I don't know how to phrase the question. Like, why do people? Why do you think, like, you know why it fascinates you? Why do you think other people? Why is it important? I guess like.
Well, I mean, nature is so important to everyone. They need it in their lives, and I think probably because of the otherness of it, it's something outside of the human world, where everything is human generated. We're surrounded by human generated ideas, content, schedules, perceptions, experiences. It's all human mediated experiences, and that's kind of predictable because it's a reflection of our own mind, our own human mind, whereas nature is unexpected. And you never know what's going to happen next. You never know what you're going to see. You never know how to interpret the life of an animal or plant. And so it takes you out of yourself. And I think people just really hunger for that. It's part of our DNA, obviously, from our ancestors. But people need it for their own spirit and their own health. And I think people kind of like to be guided in that because a number of people don't have the first steps. They don't have the foundation. They've never been out. And they maybe don't know where the danger signs are. They don't know how to calibrate, how far to go, what they need to take, what to watch out for. So it's more comforting to go with someone and kind of hand the reins off to someone and let them create the experience.
It just made me think, like, if you travel to a foreign country and you want to like buy a vacation package because you don't speak the language and you don't know what to eat and you don't know the currency or how to drive there, and so you're like, let's get a package because there's a hotel that does all of that for us, or there's a guide that does all of that for us. And so like I mean, we all came from the world, but like we sort of need a guide. Not we, but so many people.
Well, and there's so many different ways that people go into the world. And some people want to be guided. They want the companionship. Other people are completely independent and stubborn, just want to do their own thing. Everyone's got their own take, and all of us together create this larger composite picture. So like some people want to travel and sign up for a cruise ship or a guided tour, and other people want to just be freelance travelers and make it up as they go. And so all those things work in different ways.
I feel like if we were like in downtown Seattle, maybe a little bigger than Portland, and there was like, you know, a law office, and we were gonna have to go hang out there, you know, for like a week for like a conference, we would need like a guide to like help us navigate the elevators.
Yeah.
Wait, do we go now? Or
Yeah.
are we gonna run into somebody?
I had the experience going to Borneo too. So Borneo was completely foreign environment.
Yeah.
And we were at an incredibly remote site, and it was just 4 of us, and I just got dumped into this world, and I was like just terrified. Like I didn't know like what insects were poisonous, what animals were poisonous, what could bite me, what could sting me, what could attack me. You know, there's reticulated pythons there. They get 20 feet long. You never know when you're going to run into one of those, and it's going to get you while you're sleeping, whatever. You have no idea.
Yeah.
So for the first
Just
6 months, I was there, I lived in complete terror every day. Like I did not know where to look, turn, watch out for, how to defend myself, anything. And it would be nice to be guided, but you just don't have a guide there. So I had to figure it out. And after 6 months, I think I got tired of being scared and just gave up.
Yeah.
And then that was the beginning of being comfortable with it. So it's kind of the same thing when you lead. I see it all the time when you lead nature walks. People don't know how to make a step on around rocks, for instance, or something like that. And then you're also opening up a whole world of knowledge, which is hard to do on your own. Like, yes, this is what that bird is, for instance, and you have permission to identify it yourself. You don't need to be given permission to identify it. You can identify it. And take a stab at it. You might be wrong. I'll guide you gently through, like, okay, what can we see? It's not probably this because of this. What do you see? What do you think it could be? And so, like that, I think once people get comfortable, then they can do it on their own.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It was making me think. I had been traveling for a long time before I went to Borneo. I had been like just bumping around Southeast Asia, doing like the backpacker thing.
Forgot you were in Borneo.
And the last place I was in was Borneo, so that I had already been like backpacking around for a number of months in kind of like ever changing, you know, places and cities and jungles and but when I was in the jungle, it was fairly brief, obviously comparative to you. I think I was in just different jungly areas on and off for like about a month, and like staying in town and then going out for the day, and then I was staying with this community in like their jungle territory, and we were on this river that was it was pretty small. It was like, I mean, when it rained, it came to like, you know, raging river, but during the day when it was calm out and no rain, it was, you know, you could like walk through it up to your knees, and then there'd be like these pools you could swim in that were deep and then shallow, like ankle deep. So it kind of it was one of those really cool kind of like right through the jungle, and so one day I was with the group, and they were doing like these activities with like the youth of the village, and I was like, well, can I just like go up the river? Is it safe? And they're like, yeah, go for it. But like they live there, you know, I don't know what's there. And so I just went for it. I was like, maybe a couple hours. Like I probably walked for an hour up and an hour back. But a couple times I was like, man, I'm like kind of vulnerable. Like, I have no idea. Like, could something, like, they're probably, like, if I see any snakes, like, don't touch them. No matter what, because I have no idea. Like, but I was in a river. Like, I could have stepped on one or something. I don't know. Like, how dangerous was that? Like, And I mean, they would have found me because I was just walking up the river. If they hadn't seen me by dinner time, I'm sure someone would have come to find me. But, like,
that reminds me when
was I near death? Probably not.
That reminds me on my first day getting to the camp. It was a very confusing day because I had to go to Borneo by myself. My mom was dying, so I stayed behind and didn't go when the whole team went. I stayed behind for a couple months and then joined them later. So I had to get to Borneo, figure out the logistics. It took like 3 weeks to go through all the bureaucracy of getting, because I was there for a different kind of visa and had to go through a ton of office visits and very complicated. And then I showed up at the last little village, which was the entry point into the very remote area where we were. And I had sent a letter telling people that I was coming so they could be ready for me and help me make the segue. But I was with the package of letters, with my own letter. I didn't even realize it hadn't arrived at the camp. So I showed up at this little village. No one knew who I was. They had no idea what was going on. I didn't speak the language. And two guys that were supplying the camp were going up that day.
Okay.
Anyway, and so they're like, well, you're a white guy. You must be part of this camp, I guess.
Yeah, you're going with other white guys.
We're going to take you up there because that's probably where you're going to go. And then I knew the name of the camp. So it was like, okay, you're probably connected with the camp.
I see.
Anyway, so I ended up on this little dugout canoe with two guys going off into just the incredibly remote nothing.
Wow.
And really no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
They didn't know who I was or what I was part of or anything. Yeah. They were just guessing. And it was an all-day journey up to the camp, up this river. They got smaller and smaller. And sorry, it's a long story.
No, you're good. You're good.
They got into this little kerfuffle, the two of them. And the young guy wanted to like practice doing the dugout canoe with the motor, the outboard motor, and kept killing the motor over and over and over again. They got mad at each other. They were arguing, stuff like that. And then they ran out of gas because he was killing the motor so many times. And
oh my gosh.
So we had to like get out and push the dugout canoe up this river in chest deep water, like pulling it against the current.
Oh my gosh.
It was the only way to get up the river. At this point, it was a little bit wider than the room maybe. And so I was in the front pulling on this canoe and they're in the back pushing it against the current. And this big snake comes swimming across the river and the current pushing it into me.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like angling across the river and the current was pushing down. It was going to like come and wrap around my body because it was like, it was trying to swim across, but it was like, and I turned around and was like, wow, look. And they were like, and it was a cobra.
Oh gosh.
And they freaked out. And they were saying something, I didn't know what they were saying. And I was like, I turned around and my motion turning around, like made it change this angle.
It like saw it. It was like, oh, there's something there.
Yeah, it was just trying to get across the river and it would have come against me. But when it saw me move and do the sudden movement, that like what, and that veered off a different way and just narrowly missed me. But that's perfect. Like I had no idea what it was, what was going on.
Jeez.
Sorry, a long story.
No, that's amazing. Those are like, I feel like those are the, like it's so, those types of moments really stick with you, you know? Like, how old were you when you were there?
21.
21? Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, the jungle adventure is so such a fantasy. And I mean, I've been to the jungle, but every time I hear about it, I'm just like, it's so cool. Like, it's so, there's so much going on. Like, it feels, in some ways, like, up here in the Northwest, it feels like singular. Like there's the flower bloom and then there's the mating, the birds come out and then there's winter. Like, I mean, it's a diverse ecosystem, but it feels singular compared to
it really jungle. Is. Yes, it's very stripped down. And like there, you like step out at night and it's like a wall of sound. Yeah. I mean, the first night I was there, I panicked because it was so definitely loud and unceasing pulsing of life that I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot stay here. It's just like, please turn it off. I cannot handle this wall of noise. And that's what it's like. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's kind of overwhelming, but you really have to, I mean, it like forces you to like sit with it. Yeah. And then because there's nowhere else to go and it's dark and half the things out there are going to sting or bite you. So then like, after you get through that, then you kind of like, I'm sure you're enjoying it by the end.
Oh yeah, immensely. Hard to leave. Yeah. Incredible place. I was actually supposed to go in a couple of weeks back to the same research station. In a couple weeks after that, or in
now in a couple weeks?
1st of June, I was supposed to go again, but we couldn't figure out. It's a complicated permit system, so we couldn't figure out the permits.
Is it still remote?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, it was a special invitation to go back again, but it was only for like a couple of days. So I was like, I'm not going to fly to Borneo and go through all of the permit process for just a couple of days at the research site for a special alumni gathering. Yes, it's still remote. It's like the last vestige of intact, pristine rainforests in Borneo.
Whoa.
It's really a special site.
Yeah,
and it's off limits to the public. That's why you can't just go visit. That's why this was a special invitation to go back, and it's a rare opportunity because you can't go otherwise. Yeah. It's very strictly limited.
Yeah. not in the cards. Do you? Yeah, I guess I mean, you would have had to make other plans around, or make something else out of it, But
Yes. Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, you don't go that far just for a couple of days.
right. Yeah. It's a couple days to get there, if not
Yeah.
more than a couple days to get there. I mean,
Exactly.
like, you'd probably fly into like Taiwan, and then Taiwan maybe has flights to somewhere in Borneo. Probably not. You probably would have to go like either in Japan or Taiwan, and then somewhere like Malaysia.
Yes.
Or Singapore.
Yeah, it was,
and then they might have
for
a flight
me, it was Tokyo, Kuala Lumpur, then Jakarta.
In Jakarta, yeah.
Then Borneo. It's a hopper flight.
Yeah, it's not an easy.
No, not easy at all.
There's probably nothing to Borneo that's outside of like just Indonesia or like Malaysia, like regionally. No. And it's in the Indonesian side that you were probably in. Yeah, that's
yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's so cool.
So I mean that's just one example of like you got to get out in life and just be out in it, you know. And like you said, it's easy to get into this little singular world where, like now I'm in it, where you just like do your chores and do your routines and stuff like that, and you forget that there's incredible adventures out there to be had. And I wish I could do that more, but now I got cats and the newsletter.
Now you got cats, yeah.
I got the newsletter is really the hard thing.
Yeah, and I mean I hear you though. It's like it can also be good to like pour yourself into something for a while. And, And then it's just maybe the hardest thing is to know when to be like, I need to take a month off and go to Borneo. Like that's the hardest. It's like, when does that happen?
How do you make that happen?
But you're not there yet, so.
Not there yet. And like you said, it's wonderful that like the newsletter like is the culmination of my whole life. Like coming down to this incredible thing that I'm creating every week that has momentum and it's growing and people are loving it and I'm telling great stories. So like that's like something you're nurturing, you're building, and creating with that, and it's worth honoring that experience and really being there for it instead of always looking forward and thinking about other things you could be doing. So I'm enjoying that right now.
Yeah, but I do feel like the newsletter is, I mean, since I know you, I read it as like an extension of you and like something that you want to share. So in my mind, like you could go to Borneo and have your newsletter be about like.
I would. That is my goal.
Well, this week all I did was travel and I'm exhausted and I want to think. This is when I was traveling, I was thinking about this nature thing.
That is the goal.
So you can still bring nature remotely.
Yeah. The goal is to have the newsletter grow to the point where I could do that.
Yeah.
And justify it. At this point, it doesn't make enough money for me to justify.
I see. Yeah.
In next month, I'm going to Sierra Nevada for a month.
Okay.
And what I'll do while I'm there is write about Sierra Nevada topics. And just kind of be a remote correspondent for the newsletter.
You're going for a month?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's my first test of what's it like to take the newsletter on the road and write about the stories that come up out of a different landscape.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to take those steps that feel manageable too. I mean, going to Borneo is a different game for sure. I mean, I feel like with like some of these projects, like I traveled a lot, and now I'm like, what am I gonna do? I still want to do that, but like, can I do something that like works together, like hand in hand?
Yeah.
And like, but then I also go where I want to go and not where it's like, okay, I've loved the projects that I've gotten that had me go somewhere specific, but I want to, if I want to go to, we'll just stick with Borneo. If I want to go to Borneo, like, can I make that part of a story? You know?
Yeah.
And still feel like the fulfillment of traveling. Or
it'd be wonderful if you could do that with your work and the audio recording, and maybe you'll find a way to tell stories too that build that momentum.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Gotta just keep trying new things.